CROS project update, I believe. Technology Deputy Director's report. Mr. Capelong. I'm sorry, I took your role.
That's fine. You're the chairwoman.
I'm just moving this along.
Good afternoon, honorable members. I am Scott Capelong, Acting Chief Information Officer and Deputy Director for the Technology Services Department. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this month's update on the CROS project. I am pleased to report that the project continues to remain on schedule and under budget. We continue to make great progress in our design sessions and expect this phase of the project to be completed by October 2017. As part of our efforts to ensure business requirements are being satisfied in the design, a sandbox environment has been created which allows staff to navigate through the new system and confirm business capabilities are working correctly. Our subject matter experts also get hands-on experience with the new system and an opportunity to revise and clarify business requirements when needed. We are also launching a CROS corner where all BOE staff have an opportunity to explore the new system. Computer workstations are being set up in common areas of the agency where they will have access to a test environment. This will allow staff to familiarize themselves and become comfortable with the new solution before training and implementation. We have set up a CROS corner at our headquarters and Sacramento district offices and will expand to other offices starting next month. Through the month of May 2017, the project budget status is as follows. For the current month, 88% expended, year-to-date 53% expended, and project-to-date 79% expended. That concludes this month's report. I'm prepared to respond to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Commission members, Ms. Ma.
I have a question for Mr. Gao, perhaps. Since the agency is going to have a new format starting July 1st, I assume that CROS will also move over with this new CD, whatever acronym.
That's correct. And we're meeting with actually the Department of Technology tomorrow afternoon to discuss that as well. And CROS is a central part of that conversation for tomorrow.
Okay. And so I know we were going to appoint a CEA to replace Mr. Cayeti, so we no longer have to worry about doing that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I would believe too.
Okay.
Correct.
So I have no questions for Mr. Capelong then. Assume someone else is going to be overseeing this this very complicated process, so thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Along the same lines, as you know, I've often been supportive of CROS from the premise that I think it's an exceptional tool and will be very useful. But I've also held that it's just a tool. Without the training and of our employees, that I believe the revenue sources, the source of revenue is actually having the employees be well-trained, and that they in turn will actually generate additional revenue by using this tool to be more efficient is more of the philosophy that I sort of have. But this will no longer be under our jurisdiction, I believe, as a new BOE. And so how do we communicate with the new agency in order to ensure that that does take place, or any concerns that we have relative to the contract and the revenue streams and the various different benchmark or matrix that are used to determine that? I don't think I ever really got to a point where I was actually comfortable with those. And we never really got to a point where we get a report on what they are. And so I still have concerns about whether or not those revenue streams, how we measure those revenue streams, and particularly now that you have these tri-agencies. And so the efficiency of one agency will determine the overall revenue stream. So as matters move through the appeals, theoretically there's a revenue stream from accelerating matters through the appeals process. Theoretically there's a revenue stream on the constitutional side as a result of that activity. And so as you begin to, I know you guys don't have the answers to this, because we don't have the answers, and most of the legislature, if not all, don't have the complete answers. So if you guys can kind of get back to me and let me know. Again, we want to be compliant, but want to be able to express the concerns about assuring that, one, our staff, their professional development, their upper mobility creates, and that we don't. One of the things that elected officials sort of bring to the table is a high level of sensitivity to how it affects individual personally. And thank God for our executive team, because they do the same thing. I don't know to what degree that continues on in the process. So please get back to me and let me know.
Will do.
I have one question. I'm assuming that property tax was part of CROS and that these other fees were part of other two gas areas
The property tax
and diesel.
program was not part of.
It was
CROS
not.
project.
Okay, what about the diesel and what about the insurance?
The alcohol program was, and,
I'm confused.
right, so we believe that the alcohol and the insurance programs that would go with the Board of Equalization are part of the CROS solution, and that's one of the things that we will be looking at with the Department of Technology and the Department of Finance to see how what adjustments are going to be necessary for the compensation model as well as the scope of the project.
Right, well, I think that might be one area where we might want to keep those in the CROS system, because we certainly don't want to keep them in DOS.
Right, so, and that's one of the.
I'm just saying, those little hand-printed notes and stuff and shoved in everybody's desk is kind of what started this down the road anyway in the SEO audit. So if we could get everything kind of up to speed, for this high-tech state,
Sure,
I kind of like that.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yes.
Since we're talking about property taxes, I know I have gone around to my assessors in my districts, my 23 counties, and I don't know if there's any way that we can automate more on a statewide basis, and many of them did ask, especially the smaller counties, whether the state board could help in this. We also know auditors don't really want to go up to Del Norte and camp out for 2 weeks. It's also very labor-intensive for the assessors when our auditors are in there, and there's got to be, with technology, some way for us to be able to accommodate some of these auditors, these surveys that are happening, so that we don't have to physically, do what we've been doing, for 100 years. And I know some of the property tax processes are very manually intensive. I think there's one process where there's only 2 people that know how to do it. And, when one retires, there's only one person. So, I think we as a board also should really look and see how we can better automate and update our real property tax systems as well, since that is staying with the board.
Point well taken. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.